Following breaking news here on CBS Sports HQ, Brooklyn Nets star Kevin Durant has been diagnosed with a sprained left MCL in his knee, and it's being reported he's out for the next 4 to 6 weeks. Now, Durant was injured in the second quarter yesterday against the Pelicans when teammate Bruce Brown fell into his leg. The same leg was crashed into when he was with Golden State back in 2017, and he missed over a month. In 12 minutes last night, KD had 12 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists. Obviously a big impact player for the Nets. As you can see, their production with and without him. With him, they win 51.5% of the times. I mean, you look at those numbers and it tells the whole story for Durant. They're 3-3 without him, 24-12 with him. All right, for more on the injury and how this affects the Nets, let's welcome in CBS Sports basketball analyst Tim Doyle. Tim, thanks for hopping on with us. Your reaction to the news that the NBA's points per game leader is down for the next 4 to 6 weeks?
Yeah, I mean, it's sad. I never thought, Jeremy, in a million years that he would regain his form off of an Achilles injury. And frankly, he's been better. But what I did worry about was, a couple of weeks ago, they played the Raptors on a Tuesday night. And he was out there playing 48 minutes. And I was just thinking to myself as they went out there, he had a triple-double. They won that game. I went, man, this is a lot of wear and tear on Durant. Now, that plays a freak play, right? Bruce Brown ends up getting hit over, and he falls into Durant. I don't know what to make of this whole Nets situation. When they brought in Kyrie Irving, James Harden, and Kevin Durant and put them all on one basketball team, my initial thought was this was going to be an absolute dumpster fire. It hasn't been a dumpster fire, but man, what a roller coaster ride it has been. I mean, let's call it what it is. They were a half a shoe size away from going to an NBA Finals where they would have been heavily favored in against the Phoenix Suns. So was last year an utter failure? Because the expectations in Brooklyn is championship or bust. It's not winning the division. It's not getting the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference, only a half game currently behind the Chicago Bulls. It's winning a championship. And you get the Kyrie Irving only playing in road games right now. And, when Harden is asked to do Harden-esque things, what he's doing in Houston, he usually steps up to the plate. So, he's going to come back, but the minutes are alarming. He hasn't played this many minutes, Kevin Durant, since, go back 7 seasons. So, but that's a freak play. He obviously was off to a great start. You got to give this guy a ton of credit, Jeremy, because he has regained his form that he had in Golden State with the Thunder. And, he's averaging almost 30 points a game. He leads the NBA. It's crazy to think he's gotten back to where he was before the injury. But as a fan, you want to see him on the court.
Yeah, and you talk about the luck. I mean, with Zach Pachulia fell into the same knee back when he was with Golden State in 2017. I mean, it's a freak accident that happens. Again, a player falls into his knee. And you just talk about the Nets. I mean, they've had to deal with injuries and COVID issues over the past month. I mean, this is a team that's really snake bit right now. So with Durant out, Harden said last night after the game, look, other players have to step up. Who are some of those other players that are going to need to step up?
Yeah, I think simply this comes down to now the whole team philosophy shifts to this is James Harden's team. We saw this recently on a West Coast trip where Harden took the team, he put it on his back, and it was multiple nights of 30 and 10. It was very similar to what he was doing in Houston. So the Nets have an amazing ability, and this is credit to Steve Nash, who, a lot of people think is the doorman at the Four Seasons, just kind of standing there on the sideline. Like, he's had to pivot, adjust, change starting lineups. All right, 3 superstars back, because what we saw earlier in the week against the Chicago Bulls in Chicago on a late night game Central Time, that was the best team in the NBA. That game, simply, I watched that game and it was never competitive. And I went, oh, that's the best team in the NBA. With Harden, Kyrie, and Kevin Durant. It was like a glimpse. It was like it was like a little tease, wasn't it, Jeremy? We just saw a little bit of it that night. We were like, oh man, when they put it all together, how special can this team be? And now this. So, he's going to come back. I expect he's going to regain the form that he gained after he had the Achilles injury. But as a fan, it's really hard to watch. And I just have an impossible time of betting the Nets because you just never know what you're going to get.
I mean, you look at them, they've gone win-loss, 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 win over their last series of games. So, I mean, consistency has been an issue. You talk about that great game that they played against the Bulls, and then they dropped versus the Thunder. So the upcoming schedule has them at Cleveland, at Washington, at San Antonio, then in Minneapolis a week today. I mean, it's not a devastating schedule over the next week, but they're a half game back of the Bulls, but only a game up on the Heat. I mean, this is manageable, right, Tim?
You know, they're playing teams that have really surprised the NBA. Cavaliers have been a massive surprise. You know, that game I expect to be, close to about a pick'em. Washington's been very tough at home. Dropped one last night to Portland. I laid 7 in that game. Not thrilled about that, but they've been overachievers. And then the T-Wolves, they've been overachievers. So you expect the Spurs and Lakers to be wins. When your star player gets hurt, it's all about weathering the storm. But I think something that's going to be really interesting right now, Jeremy, is the MVP race. What does this do to the odds there? Because Steph Curry was kind of looking over his shoulder. Because if the Nets went out there and won the East, I thought Kevin Durant certainly had a chance to win the MVP.
Yeah, and Caesars has taken the odds down. So, I mean, obviously the MVP race, they're kind of reassessing things. So, I mean, when he comes back from something like this, Tim, I mean, obviously, we're looking at 4 to 6 weeks here. So what are the expectations for him when he comes back? If he's out of the MVP race, obviously, then it's just title or bust.
I think what he has done in Brooklyn kind of elevated him to another stratosphere. Now, they didn't win a championship last year, but anybody who knows basketball, I mean, his foot stepped on the line. If it's 6 inches behind the line, they beat the Bucks and they go to the NBA Finals, and more than likely they knock off the Suns. Who knows, right? We're looking into a crystal ball, but they would have been favored in that series. So I think if you're a Nets fan, you're just like optimistic. How could you not be? How could you, after what you saw against the Bulls, the best team in the Eastern Conference, and you smacked them around, you have to be like, man, we're the best team in the Eastern Conference. I think the Eastern Conference is a 4-horse race. Sorry, 76ers, but I think it is Miami, Milwaukee, the Nets, and the Bulls. So whoever's going to be the most healthy, as proven last season, Jeremy, with so many injuries, whoever's standing is most healthy, that's the team I trust the most.
And COVID continues to be the great equalizer in all of sport. We don't know how that's going to play out as the season continues on. He is NBA analyst Tim Doyle joining us to discuss the news that the Brooklyn Nets have lost Kevin Durant to a sprained knee for the next 4 to 6 weeks. Thanks for hopping on with us, Tim. In terms of the odds to win the NBA title, the Nets are still the favorites at plus 260. Then you have the Golden State Warriors at plus 500. Warriors undergoing a little bit of a dip right now. Then you have the defending champion Milwaukee Bucks at plus 700 along with the Phoenix Suns. And then you get into over plus 1,000 odds for the Jazz, Heat, Lakers, and 76ers.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.